How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, we are back with our Week 6 pregame show. Tomorrow, when you guys are watching this video, the day after that, we're recording this on Friday, but Saturday, you guys will be seeing this, so that's why I'm saying tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Green Bay Packers head to Chicago. The most historic rivalry in all of football will take place at Soldier Field, October 17th. 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time. The 3-2 Bears will face the 4-2 Packers. We're going to be breaking it all down for you guys today, talking about the game and making our Week 6 game picks. So let's hop right into it. Before I get into this episode, though, I would like to say we're posting Bears content every day of the week. You've seen a video from us each and every day up until the game. Now we're going to be posting a post-game show tomorrow after the game, reacting to the game. I'll be there. Parth will be watching, and we'll be reacting to the game tomorrow, so be sure to look out for that. But my point is, we're bringing you guys the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web, so if you haven't already, if you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, do us a favor, drop a like, subscribe, follow, and we're going to keep bringing the Bears content to you guys all season. I'm your host, Chris Maltby, today to talk about a very important Week 6 game as the Bears head down a very lengthy and rough part of their schedule. I am joined with my co-host, Parth Shaw. Parth, the most historic rivalry in all of football, and in my opinion, the best rivalry in football and possibly all of sports tomorrow. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for that one. I think the Bears and Packers, it's always such a great game, such a historic rivalry, so many things on the line. You know, the fans are excited for this one. And yeah, I mean, couldn't be more excited for Justin Fields making his debut against the Packers. Definitely talk about that. And let's see what happens. I mean, it's going to be a big game. The Bears definitely need to step it up and do what it takes to win, because the schedule only gets tougher. So probably going to say that a lot, but you got to win almost every game that is possible at this point.
Yeah, and Bears-Packers games are always big, and one doesn't come bigger than this. The day that the Bears selected Justin Fields with the 11th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, everyone was looking forward to the first time he was going to play the Packers and whether or not he was going to be able to conquer this tough test for the next couple of years or so. So tomorrow is definitely a big one, a lot of future games with Justin Fields against the Packers. But let's hop right into this. Taking a look at ESPN's matchup predictor, they are giving the Bears a 40.5% chance to win this one, with Green Bay at a 59.1% chance. Taking a look at the injury report for Green Bay, cornerback Kevin King is out, wide receiver Malik Taylor listed as questionable, as well as offensive tackle and guard Elgton Jenkins and Dennis Kelly. For the Bears, a lot of injuries, but a lot of hopeful players that can hopefully get out there on the field this game. The big four that I will mention: Eddie Jackson, Allen Robinson, Khalil Mack, as well as, I'm missing one, Akeem Hicks. All are listed as questionable for Chicago in this game. The Bears coming in as 6-point home dogs in this one. The over-under for the game is set at 44 points. So if you guys don't know how these pregame shows work, we normally just go through our entire weekly content in small, short tidbits and then make our picks at the end. So let's start with what we do on Mondays, taking a look at the opponents, the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay offensively, they're led by Aaron Rodgers, man. The Packers have won 4 of their last 5 games over the Bengals, Steelers, 49ers, and Detroit Lions. That offense has been putting up 24 points per game, 362.4 yards per game as well. Rodgers has thrown on average for 261.8 yards per game, and Green Bay's getting just over 100 rushing yards per game on average. Taking a look at Rodgers, though, this season, 107 for 163, 1,241 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for the Bear ruler. For being completely honest, he has picked apart the Bears defense for quite some time. On the ground, their leader so far, another dynamic player in Aaron Jones. 70 carries for him, 309 rushing yards, and 2 scores on the ground for him. And then a top 3 receiver in the league. We've talked about him all week. Devontae Adams is their receiving leader. 42 catches for him so far, 579 yards. He's racked up 2 touchdowns. Taking a look at the rest of Green Bay's offense, they still got some menaces, believe it or not. Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, they bring back from the Houston Texans, Robert Tonyan and Mercedes Lewis at tight end, and a pretty solid offensive line that has held up so far this season. Parth, we don't know what to expect with Green Bay going forward. We've seen them struggle in some instances this season. Week 1, a blowout loss to the Saints. They've been close in games against the Lions, the 49ers, the Bengals. And with all the drama with Green Bay this offseason, we really don't know what their future looks like. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams alluding all offseason to this being their last dance. But it seems like if things go right in Green Bay, those two could be sticking around. So before we get into any of that, and we've talked about it all offseason, what do you think about Green Bay offensively so far this season through about a month and a quarter? You are muted, my friend.
I knew I was going to do that. I was just going to say, player-wise, they're very talented. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, under center, and he's always been a bear killer. He's always harassed the Bears, no matter what. The Bears defense, whoever was on the Bears defense, we've had some great defenses on this Bears team, and he's still been able to slay all of them. And then obviously Devontae Adams, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the league right now. He's tearing it apart. Last week, over 200 yards against the Bengals. He's bound for another big game, especially against this Bears secondary, who is not the best in the NFL. We know that. We definitely have some pieces that need to get better as time goes on. There are a lot of young guys down there still trying to find their role in the NFL. And then Aaron Jones, shifty running back, very speedy. He can catch the ball really well. That's one thing I really like about him, and that's one thing Aaron Rodgers is going to use this weekend because the pass rush is going to get to him. I expect that. So I'm going to expect Aaron Jones to also have a lot of catches out of the backfield. So you got to watch out for that as well. But this Green Bay team offensively definitely has struggled a little bit this year. I'm not going to forget that. You don't expect the Green Bay offense to be ranked below 20 subpar offense in the league right now, but it's only 5 games in the year. I expect them to turn it around, especially against this Bears team is someone who they're extra motivated against for some reason. Aaron Rodgers loves to put up points against us, and he definitely knows they're going to have to because this Bears defense has been playing really good so far this year.
Yeah, the 3 players you mentioned, obviously Jones, Rodgers, and Adams, those have really been the 3 dynamic pieces for this Packers offense so far this season. They're currently slated as 22nd in overall offense this year, but those 3 have absolutely been getting it done and are going to be torturing the Bears on Sunday in some way, shape, or fashion. I like a lot of the pieces that Green Bay has around those names. Guys that haven't essentially stepped up so far this season, like Robert Tonyan, who's coming off a really good year in 2020. They brought in the rookie out of Clemson, Amari Rodgers, A.J. Dillon, someone who's gotten more involved in their rushing attack. Look, Green Bay's offense hasn't performed to the level that we would call par for them, but they are still a dominant offense. Chicago has a lot of Chicago's lacking a lot in their secondary, I would say. That's the least I can say outside of Jaylen Johnson. We haven't really been happy with the play of Eddie Jackson, Kindle Vildor. Vildor's been fine, but he hasn't really been targeted much. Duke Shelley, Marquis Christian, Tashawn Gibson. I would say the 2 players that have stood out the most for me so far this season in Chicago's secondary are Jaylen Johnson and then Deion Bush, who's been stepping in and playing a role there at strong and free safety. So overall, I'm worried about Aaron Rodgers being able to pick apart this defense. It's something he's done for years. I am still very confident in the Bears front 7. I think they'll be able to contain Jones at least a little bit, and they're going to have to make Aaron Rodgers beat him, as scary as that sounds. The front 7 for the Bears has been super good so far this season. A lot of good depth there. Guys like Kairis Tonga, Bilal Nichols, Alec Ogletree, Trevis Gibson, amongst others, have been stepping up and making big plays. So I'm really confident in how this Bears front 7 matches up with Green Bay. Their offensive line has been a little bit weaker than in years past, but at the end of the day, man, it's Aaron Rodgers. I respect him so much as a football player and as a competitor. He's one of the best to ever do it. Let's take a look at Green Bay's defense now. Obviously, Parth, I mentioned earlier, Kevin King, their cornerback 2, normally on the depth chart, is going to be out for them. So Eric Stokes will get the start. Obviously, Jair Alexander on injured reserve, I believe with a shoulder injury. He's not going to be playing in this one and might not even see action the rest of this season. Zadarius Smith also great outside linebacker for them, has continued to improve since Green Bay brought him in. He is going to miss this one as well. So the two biggest dominoes for Green Bay's defense are down. Kevin King, also another big piece that's going to be down because Eric Stokes obviously will be going up against Allen Robinson. I'd say Stokes has played some pretty good football so far this season, but we've definitely seen him make some rookie mistakes, get drawn into some pass interference calls. So I am confident that the Bears will be able to perform well against this secondary. Taking a look at what they've got up front in that base 3-4 defense, Dean Lowry, Kenny Clark lead the way. Preston Smith has started off having a pretty good season. They bring in the veteran linebacker from the Dallas Cowboys, Jaylen Smith. Rashawn Gary also as well, still a strong player. And then taking a look at what else they have outside of cornerback on the back end, one of the best safety duos in the league, if not the best, with Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage. So, Parth, I do believe that Chicago will be able to get the passing attack going a little bit more this week. We've talked about it in previous episodes. It'd be nice to see Justin Fields throw more than 20 times this game. And if the Bears want to win, they're probably going to have to do that. But what do you think about this Green Bay defense? And do you see those holes in that secondary?
Definitely. With Jerry Alexander and Kevin King out, I expect the Bears. The Bears should at least attack the secondary. The Green Bay secondary is going to be highlighted by Eric Stokes, like Chris said, rookie corner. And you got to take advantage of rookie corners, especially when you have a guy like Allen Robinson, who's been in the league for so many years. He's bound for a breakout game. I don't know how many times we're going to have to say this, but it's got to happen this week. It's been overdue. And Allen Robinson's too good.
Yeah, I mean, we thought it was going to happen last weekend when Trayvon Mullen and Damon Arnett were out for the Raiders, and Robinson, who had 12 games with 70-plus receiving yards last year, hasn't been able to do it this year once. I feel like we keep coming onto these pregame shows and saying, when is this going to happen, man?
It should happen this week. I mean, it's all based on how we scheme the offense. Obviously, you got to pass the ball with Justin Fields more than 20 times. That's why we traded up for him. And that's his job. And it's a big game. It's a rivalry game. The Bears are going to, if they win, they would take over the first seed in the NFC North. 6 weeks into the season, that's a big thing. That the Bears definitely want that competitive edge against this Green Bay team, who is currently lacking some players on defense. Like I said, they're going to be out without their top two corners. Darius Smith, who's their best pass rusher, is going to be out of this game. These are some key players that they're missing and that the Bears offense should take advantage with. The Bears offensive line played really well last week. I expect them to play really well against this Green Bay defensive line, who are actually a pretty stout D-line. I feel like they get the job done. Dean Lowry, really good defensive lineman in my opinion. Kenny Clark, another great defensive lineman in my opinion. So you got to watch out for those guys for sure. But as long as Bears can protect the quarterback and hopefully stretch out the field against this Green Bay defense, like we said, is missing some key pieces, and you got to take advantage. And the Bears are going to be without their top two running backs as well.
Yeah, Chicago missing their top two running backs in this one. They're going to have two really important rookies starting at quarterback and running back. So Khalil Herbert, the rookie out of Virginia Tech, is going to get the start. I do believe the Bears offensive line will be able to have a good day in this one. Obviously, I think we're 3 weeks now off the performance where the Bears allowed 9 sacks. Since then, they've done a really good job at protecting Fields. We've seen Jason Peters. He's been able to stay healthy and stay on the field, as well as Jermaine Fetty. And the guards do what they do, and Sam Mustipher continues to play good football. So I'm confident that the Khalil Herbert will be able to get the run game going. Great vision and patience from him. I think we're going to continue to see it. He had 75 yards and 4.2 yards per carry last week against the Las Vegas Raiders, so I am confident in him. But the Bears are going to have to continue to get the run game going, help out Justin Fields, kick him outside of the pocket, let him extend plays, get the play action going, definitely get the run pass option going against this Green Bay defense, because you're going to have some sort of running weapon outside of Herbert. I'm not sure how much I trust guys like Ryan Nall and Artavis Pierce to be picking up the slack. So it seems like it's going to be Herbert as the bell cow back for Chicago. But I'm confident that the Bears will be able to air the ball out in this one. I don't know many of the corners on the Green Bay Packers team below Eric Stokes. They're missing their top two corners. Eric Stokes only starting his 6th NFL game. So I think the Bears will have an opportunity to extend the ball long. Me and Parth kind of just vented about it a second ago, but the Allen Robinson breakout game has to come sometime. Someone for the Bears offensively is going to need to step up if the Bears want to put up points in this one, and he's definitely someone I'm looking at to do that. Let's move into our 3 key matchup segment of the show. We're going to each be sharing what positional matchup or key to the game we think is most important to the Bears winning this one. I'm going to start, and I'm going to pick up right where I left off. Allen Robinson versus Eric Stokes. We've seen Robinson get off to a really slow start this season. When you take a look at his numbers, he just hasn't been satisfactory. Is that because Chicago's passing offense has been limited in some par? Probably, absolutely. But Robinson's only got 17 receptions for 181 yards and 1 score on the first drive against the Cincinnati Bengals in week 2. He's going to have to take advantage. I'm not entirely sure how Stokes has performed. I've watched him play a little bit. He definitely has some promise being a good cornerback for the Packers in the future, as I'm sure in the next couple of years, if not sooner than later, they'll look to move on from Kevin King. But Allen Robinson, he wants $20 million a year. He claims to be the big play receiver. We've seen him be the big play receiver in the past. We've seen him have one of the best catch radiuses in the league. We've seen him be one of the most reliable wide receivers in the league. I don't think we can essentially hate on him for getting off to a slow start this season, because no one in the Chicago Bears receiving corps has been able to do so. But someone's going to need to step up big time for the Bears in this one. The only 2 options I could see it possibly being outside of Justin Fields is Khalil Herbert and Allen Robinson. Khalil Herbert having his first start this season. Robinson's a seasoned veteran. I trust that he's going to have to step up in this game, hopefully catch a lot of balls, hopefully have over 70 receiving yards, hopefully over 100, and hopefully get into the end zone. That's going to be huge. The wide receiver 1 for the Bears is definitely going to have to help out his rookie quarterback if the Bears want to be competitive in this game, in my opinion. So, Parth, I'm going to pass it over to you right now. That's a pretty big development, obviously, with Kevin King being out. I'm pretty sure it's something that not many people expected, and it kind of snuck up on us. And now there's an opportunity for the Bears really to thrive in terms of their passing game. But when you take a look at this Week 6 matchup, what positional matchup or keys to the game intrigue you that the Bears have to accomplish or take advantage of if they want to win this game?
I'm going to go with getting the pass rush going. You got to get to Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And whenever a quarterback is a little bit under duress, he's prone to making mistakes, and Aaron Rodgers is definitely one of them. He's usually more likely to throw the ball away, but if we can get him to make a mistake here and there, it would be huge for the Bears. We've seen Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn have some amazing starts to the season. I think they both lead the league together in sacks combined as a pass rushing duo at 10.5. So you got to get those 2 guys going. The Green Bay offensive line isn't the same as before. It's definitely missing some pieces. It isn't as loaded as it was 2 years ago when Khalil Mack just joined the team in 2018, and he was able to absolutely tear him apart that year. But I expect Mack to have one of his better games against the Packers. I think Robert Quinn as well is going to step up. He's been stepping it up every game. I feel like every game I say he's going to have a sack, and he's been proving it. He's been proving all the haters wrong, and you'd love to see it. The Bears definitely needed him to play a bigger presence, and that's why Mack is also looking better, and Mack is also getting sacks and putting up numbers as well. Both of them together should combine for a couple sacks, I feel like. Get Rodgers under duress, make them use their running backs a little bit more, slow the game down, and hopefully help this Bears offense out, who definitely will need some help in this game because this Packers offense is obviously a lot better than ours.
I don't know why we haven't mentioned this yet. I think one reason why Khalil Mack has struggled partly in the past against Green Bay is because obviously he's going up against one of the best offensive tackles in the league in David Bakhtiari. He's not going to be playing in this one either. And also, I mentioned it earlier, Elgton Jenkins also is going to be questionable for them, so he might not be at full strength or might not even be playing. It's going to be huge that the Bears get to Rodgers in this one. The Bears currently lead the league in sacks with 18 so far this season, and they're going to have to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks, especially these next couple of weeks with guys like Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Trey Lance, Aaron Rodgers. But, we've seen the Bears defensively have some success this season. They're currently blitzing their opponents on only 15.7% of their defensive snaps. That's the 3rd lowest rate in the league. But Chicago leads the league in total sacks with 18 collectively. The Bears aren't a team that can afford to send the blitz each and every play. These aren't signs of blitz pressure. It's a sign of pretty good coverage. But Aaron Rodgers is someone who's going to pick you apart. It's going to be essential this week that guys like Khalil Mack play, first of all, get to Aaron Rodgers. Robert Quinn's had a good season so far. It's going to be important that he continues to get to Rodgers. So I think it's really important that the Bears get pressure in this one, and hopefully guys like Akeem Hicks can come back as well. But Eddie Goldman, Bilal Nichols, everyone in that front seven is going to be essential to the Bears winning in this one. Maybe force Rodgers into some bad throws, get some strip sacks, get some sacks in general. You have to slow down Aaron Rodgers at all costs. So the time to talk is over. It's time to get into our Week 6 picks. The most important thing that we do every week, and one of the funnest segments we have on our show every week. Parth, it's been a long week. Uh, yeah, it's been a long week waiting for this game. I feel like we kind of have had a Bears fever coming off of that win against the Raiders, but this game is so important because if the Bears
Yeah.
could move to 4-2 somehow, and they've got a tough stretch of games moving forward, it could have big implications in terms of the NFC North race and the race in the conference for playoff spots. So let's hear it. You've been someone to pick against the Bears, I believe, the last 3 weeks in a row. So who do you have in this Week 6 showdown between the Bears and the Packers?
I'm gonna pick against the Bears again. It's tough to pick for the Bears against the Packers. It's not an easy job. I think this Aaron Rodgers led team gets the job done. I don't know what else to say. I'm just gonna say the score because I don't really like to blow up that the Packers are about to beat the Bears, or that's my prediction. But they beat us 27-17. I think the Bears hang in there till the end, and then at the fourth quarter, the offense is unable to get it going, and Aaron Rodgers seals the game with a game-winning, drive at the end of the game. But I think the Bears are going to be able to stick in it. I think this team has been able to play some really close games this year, and there's been games like the Browns where we just got absolutely demolished, the Rams where we got absolutely demolished. But if they can keep it close, I think the Bears can pull it out at the end.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a similar prediction to you. I think the Bears are a better team than a lot of people think. I think Chicago's defense has come out so far this season, especially the front seven that I continue to rave about, and they have been surprising. I think the Bears offensively, the highlight so far for them this season is they've gotten a really consistent run game going. They've been favoring the run in most games and getting Justin Fields more acclimated. But I think the league's going to be in for some trouble once Justin Fields figures it out and the Bears can get the passing game going because they're just a little bit too limited on offense right now to be able to get into shootouts with, say, teams like the Chargers or the Ravens or the Browns, as we saw. And Green Bay's another example of that. Aaron Rodgers does his thing. I have to give all my respect in the world to him. He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. And I think he's just a little too much. I think the Bears offense sees success early, and I think we get into a nice little game, but Rodgers might be able to close it out, especially against a Bears secondary that struggles at the nickel corner, and we aren't too sure what to make of the cornerback too. So we haven't seen too much explosiveness from this Green Bay offense yet, but one thing we do know is that they've been able to get it done consistently time in and time again, 4 games in a row. I'm going to give this one to the Packers by a score of 30-24. It's a little bit hard picking against the Bears, especially in what's going to be such a big game that I'm going to be at in person and rooting so hard for Justin Fields and this offense to get going and the Bears defense to stay on top of Aaron Rodgers. But it's so tough to pick against the Packers, especially with the uncertainty in Chicago's offense. But me and Parth will gladly eat our words if things go the other way. Obviously, we'll be rooting for the Bears and hope they can pull it out. It's just tough to pick them in certain circumstances, especially with this tough stretch moving down the schedule. But thank you guys so much for listening in to our Week 6 pregame show. Postgame show is going to be coming out tomorrow night after the game. So do us a favor. If you want Bears content every day of the week, we're trying to bring you the most comprehensive coverage on the web. Drop a like, subscribe, follow if you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, and we'll be back reacting to the game tomorrow night. If you want more content from us, head to our website, beardown.com. We're posting columns, articles, and blogs to get you guys ready for the Week 6 game against Green Bay. One of our contributors, Griff Curho, does his weekly bets every week. He bets on the game. So his picks are going to be on our website if you are into that sort of stuff, beardown.com. Once again, the link is in the description. We're giving away a Justin Fields jersey on social media soon. So if you'd like to find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter to enter those giveaways, you can find us on both platforms at Bear Down. And finally, you can find the links to all of our personal social media pages down in the description for myself as well as Parth. It's another great way to interact with us, and you can see our thoughts on all things Bears, the National Football League, and the entirety of Chicago sports. Parth Shaw, another week down, another weekly coverage over. This season is flying. I can't believe we're already more than a
6
third of
weeks.
the way,
Yeah.
third of the way done with the regular season. And man, no game bigger than this one this season. I feel like as we continue, the games just
Each
continue
game's
to get
gonna get
bigger
bigger.
and bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And playing the Packers is always so much fun. I'm already jumping for joy. We're recording this on a Friday, 6 p.m., so it's not even Saturday yet here. So we still got an extra day and a half to wait for the game still. But I wish it was tomorrow because I really want to see the Bears pull off this upset. And yeah, I know Bears fans will be excited for this one to see Justin Fields take the field against the Packers for the first time in his career. I think we've never had a quarterback that I felt more confident in a game against the Packers. I just feel like Justin's got that it in him. He's got that mentality that's different than a lot of other quarterbacks the Bears have had in the past. It's not a normal game to him. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields started 35 games in college. He beat the biggest teams on the biggest stages, and there's no bigger stage for the Chicago Bears than this. I've been getting clowned on it for talking about it on Twitter all week, but if Fields somehow can lead the Bears to a win in this one, the city of Chicago might burn down, not only because they beat the Packers, but a lot of Chicagoans might realize, hey, this guy might be the guy. And we have full belief that Justin Fields is the guy. But as I mentioned earlier, these games keep getting bigger and bigger. The Bears have the third toughest strength of schedule in the league, so finding a win anywhere that you can is going to be very, very important. And if the Bears could eke one out here, get to 4-2, become first place in the NFC North, I think we'll definitely have a reason to be hopeful down the stretch facing some of these tougher teams. But it should be a really interesting one, man. Something about that atmosphere, Green Bay versus Chicago, being at Soldier Field like I will be on Sunday for games like these. I think nothing in sports beats it. So it's going to be a really fun one. But guys, it's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. For those of you who have listened this entire time, we really appreciate you guys for listening into our entire weeks of coverage. We're really grinding out, working hard here. As Parth mentioned, on a Friday night, trying to get content done before we both go home. So we appreciate your guys' continuous support throughout the entire season. We're trying to bring you guys the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web. We really love doing this stuff, and you guys continue to support us. So we're going to keep coming back to you. But really big game tomorrow, man. I don't really know what else to say. One of the biggest games in recent Chicago Bears history. We've been waiting for this one for quite some time. Bears fans, as always, try and stay calm tomorrow and do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Post-game show coming after the game against Green Bay, and that's it for us. Peace out.